Hey, good evening and welcome to the Children's Sunday School lesson. We got Steve.
What's up?
You got me. And we're going to be going over your lesson. But before we start, Steve, do you know what we started at church Sunday morning?
We started church with people.
We did.
In the church.
In the church. But what else did we have?
We had children's church.
Children's church. That
with
is right.
One people.
One people.
And two teachers.
And two teachers. That's right.
Two teachers, one people.
Equals three. Mm-hmm. So I need all of y'all.
Every single one of you.
To come to children's church because you got Brother Ray and Sister Nicole teaching you, and they had a special guest, Sister Bernice.
Sister Bernice showed up?
Sister Bernice finally showed up.
Man,
yes,
She must have got that mail order mask.
She did. So you need to know about Sister Bernice and all them cool cats and kittens out there in them Sunday school and children's church lessons.
And if you ain't sure how to get there, you just come to church and Harrison will show you the way.
That is right. He will. He knows exactly where to go. So wake your parents, wake your grandparents up and say, we got to go to church. They're having children's church. Be there. But tonight, you know how we started off? We started off with our unit verse. It comes from John 13:15.
Is the unit verse the same as the weekly verse?
It is not. It comes from the same chapter, but it ain't the same verse. Now, why they go and do that to us?
To mess us up.
That is right, yes. So our unit verse is from John 13:15. I have given you an example that you also should do, just as I have done for you. That's John 13:15. Now the weekly verse is John 13:34.
Which is going to be a little bit further down. Not a whole bunch, just a little bit.
Right there. And Steve's got that for us.
I give you a new command. Love one another, just as I loved you. You are also to love one another. And that's John 13:34.
That's the new command. Love one another. So, who are we talking about tonight?
Zacchaeus.
No, it's pronounced Zacchaeus.
Zazacchino.
No, say it with me. Zacchaeus.
Zacchito.
I don't think he's ever going to get it right. But we're talking about the wee little man Zacchaeus. Everybody should know about him. Even I knew about him when I was going over the lesson.
Zacchito.
Zacchaeus.
Close,
but yes.
Zacchito.
Mm-hmm.
Zacchito. I got this.
You got it? You got his name right now and everything?
Yep.
Okay. So Steve's going to read the lesson for us.
It says right here, Jesus loved Zacchito.
That's it. Zacchaeus.
No, that's not right.
Zacchaeus.
That must be a spelling error.
Now you made somebody done run to the pantry to get some Cheetos out of there.
Every time I eat a Cheeto, I'm going to think of that. I'm
right.
going to think of this story right here.
Think of this story right here. Zacchaeus.
Us.
Zacchaeus.
Zach key, like door key.
Mm-hmm.
Us.
Well, look at that.
Look at that.
Us.
I'm a big kid now. All right, you ready for the story?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Jesus was traveling through Jericho. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
I think
because Jacob was the guy and Jericho was the city.
That's right. Yes, sir. That's right.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to start over because I got ADD kicked in.
Squirrel.
Jesus was traveling through Jericho where a man, is that Cheeto?
Zacchaeus.
Where a man named Zacchaeus lived. Zacchaeus was a chief tax collector, so he had lots of money. He was in charge of collecting taxes from the Roman government from the Jewish people in Jericho. When Jesus came into town, a large crowd gathered to see him. Zacchaeus went to see Jesus too, but Zacchaeus, he was a short feller. I mean, like, short. He was about, I don't know how much of the camera can get this. He was short. He was teeny weeny, short. He could not see over the people in the crowd because they were tall. Taller than him. So he ran ahead and he climbed up a tree. When he got to this tree, he saw Jesus pass by. When Jesus walked by, he looked up in the tree and saw Zacchaeus. He said, "Come down, Zacchaeus. I want to stay with you today." Zacchaeus hurried up and came down from the tree. He was so happy to welcome Jesus. The people that saw him, saw what happened, they complained Zacchaeus was a sinner. They said, and Jesus is going to stay at his house tonight. The people knew that many tax collectors were dishonest and cheated people. They took more money from people than they should. Zacchaeus told Jesus, "I will give half of everything I have to the poor. And if I've cheated anyone, I will pay them back 4 times as much." Jesus told Zacchaeus, "Today you have been saved. I have come to seek and save the lost." And that comes from Luke 19, 1 through 10. And now, Michael's going to talk about Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus.
So close.
So close. Now, as he was reading that story, what was going through your head?
Cheetos.
No, yeah, well, Cheetos may have been, but I was kind of humming a song. You remember Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he.
He was short.
He was short. He climbed up in a sycamore tree for the Lord he wanted to see. Remember, I'm old and I can still remember that song when I was little. So I hope somebody's taught you that song. Zacchaeus was a little man. He wanted to see the Lord, so he climbed up in a tree. Zacchaeus, you know, the song makes Zacchaeus out to be an innocent man, but Zacchaeus was not exactly innocent.
I think you're saying it wrong.
Am I?
Zacchaeus.
No, it's Zacchaeus. But he wasn't an innocent man. You remember in the story, he said he was a tax collector. Well, Jews didn't like tax collectors because they worked for the Romans.
Are tax collectors short?
No, not all of them. No, not all of them were short. But all tax collectors, yeah, right in there. They were all dishonest. They worked for the Romans. And what they did was the Romans said, "You've got to get $5 from this person." Well, the tax collectors would go out and go, "Hey, you owe us $15. They'd put $5 in the bag for the Romans, and they would keep the other $10.
You had to give them an Abe Lincoln?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
So they'd keep the other $10 for theirself. So that's how Zacchaeus got so rich. He was overcharging the people. He'd tell and say, "Give me $100." Well, he'd put 30 in there for the Romans, and he'd keep the other 70.
That's wrong.
That is wrong. He was very dishonest.
I'm not good at math, but that's wrong.
That is wrong. So, you know, Jesus was coming to town. He was going to Jericho. Zacchaeus really, really, really wanted to see him. But with him being so short, he couldn't see over the people. He was just looking into their backs.
Can you see me?
He was
Can
hiding.
you see me?
He was like hiding. So Zacchaeus come up with this idea to climb a tree. So he climbed this big sycamore tree. And what does Jesus do? He comes through the town. He looks up in this tree. He didn't ask who was up there. He didn't say anything. He said, "Who? Who?" He said, "Zacchaeus." He called him by name. Not who. He called him by name.
Who? Zacchaeus.
No, Zacchaeus. Jesus called him by name. Jesus didn't know him.
Did he have Cheetos in the tree?
No, he didn't. He had nothing. But he called him out by name and he said, "Come down here. I want to stay with you." Wow. This upset the people around, the good people, the honest people, the Christians. This upset them because they couldn't believe Jesus wanted to go and stay with a dishonest sinner like Zacchaeus was. I almost said Cheeto. Yes, I did. But they couldn't believe that. So they upset them. Boy, they got ill. They got mad. So Jesus went home with Zacchaeus. What do you think they had for supper?
Cheetos.
No, maybe cheeseburgers and French fries.
Maybe a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Maybe a Chick-fil-A sandwich. We don't know. But they sat down, maybe they ate supper. But as Jesus is talking to Zacchaeus, he goes, I'm sorry. I've done wrong. I see that now. I want to change. He said, I'm going to give half my stuff to the poor people. Why didn't you think he said, I'm going to give it all to the poor people? Because Zacchaeus had another plan. You know, he said, I'm going to give half of it to the poor people. But if I have stolen from anybody, I'm going to give them four times the amount. So if he gave all his money to the poor people, he wouldn't be able to make up to the people that he had robbed. So if he took $100 from you and he stole from you, you're fixing to get $500 back.
Woo!
Ooh, yeah, it's tax time coming in. Cha-ching. Right. So, you know, Zacchaeus had a change in his heart. His heart originated hard. It was black, made out maybe like concrete set up in there. But Jesus showing him love, showing him compassion. Zacchaeus may be a lonely man. Nobody visited him because of his job, because how dishonest he was. But with Jesus have compassion, coming to visit, coming to stay with him, it kind of softened, loosened that concrete up around his heart and made it beat right. It changed him into an honest person, and he wanted to do good. You know, Jesus already knows everything about you. Wow, that's what gets me every time I think about Jesus. He already knows everything about me. The good things that I do, the bad things that I do. And you know what? Years down the road, the good things that I do, the bad things that I do. He already knows that. With him knowing that, with him knowing what we're going to do, what we've done, it doesn't stop him from loving us. You know, he knows this stuff, but it doesn't stop him from loving us. And being close to you, more you know of Jesus, it changes your heart. So if you have a strong relationship with Jesus, you're talking to him, you're praying, you're reading your Bible, you're watching the Sunday school lesson, you're growing in the Word, it changes your heart. And it never ever sets up with concrete. And if it is already set up with concrete, you're dishonest, you're not loyal and all that. The more you get back into it, the more you study, the more you read, it's going to loosen that concrete up. It's going to change your heart. It's going to change how the person you are.
You know, Jesus can change anybody.
Anybody. That is correct.
I'm proof.
It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. He loves you no matter what. There's no changing that. Well, that was the story on Zacchaeus.
Zacchito.
So you know what time it is and moving on time.
Game time!
That is right. So where does Zacchaeus live?
Over there.
Over there on the Almond Street. That's the Almond Street over there. No. You remember? Steve remembered from a couple of weeks ago, he lives in Jericho, which is a place, and Jacob was the guy. So Zacchaeus lived in Jericho, where Jacob went. That's right.
Smart. Smart.
That's it, Steve. Smart. What was Zacchaeus' job?
He worked at Chick-fil-A. My pleasure. No.
They didn't have them little sliding windows back then. They had to move the big rock out of the way. It took days to get it there.
Can I take your order, please?
No, he was a tax collector.
That was close.
He would go out, he collected money from people. Everybody paid taxes back then. Just like we do now, but it was more...
A little different.
A little different, yeah. So he collected money from people and he took it back to the Romans. Why did Zacchaeus climb a tree?
Who?
Zacchaeus.
Who?
Zacchito?
Zacchito.
No. Why did Zacchaeus? I get it. It took me a little bit, but I got it. Why did he climb a tree?
Who?
You know, he didn't have binoculars.
He was looking for the owl.
He didn't have binoculars, and he was a little short feller. He had to get above everybody so he could see Jesus. Jesus was coming through town. He wanted to see him.
Jesus, I'm up here.
What did Jesus first say to Zacchaeus?
Come here often.
No. That line didn't work. No, he said, come down from that tree. I want to stay with you.
That's close again.
Yeah, Jesus didn't know Zacchaeus from anybody.
Maybe he said, what's for dinner?
No. He called him by name and he said, come out of that tree. I want to go to your house and stay. Why did everybody complain about that?
Because Zaccheaus had Cheetos at the house.
I don't think they made Cheetos back then, did they?
I'm pretty sure they did.
No, did they?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Up in the tree in a little Keebler.
In the little Keebler tree. It was dated way back then too. No, they were upset because Zacchaeus was a dishonest man. He was a sinner. You know, he collected taxes from the people. He would rob them. So he was dishonest. He was a sinner. The people couldn't believe that Jesus wanted to go stay with a sinner. They thought Jesus might want to stay with a devoted Christian, the one that was worshiping him, the one that lived every day for him. But no, Jesus wanted to go stay with Zacchaeus. What did Zacchaeus decide after he met Jesus? What did he decide to do?
Go get more Cheetos because they was out.
No. You remember, I used to think his heart was kind of like concrete, all hard. He had no love. He had no friends. He had no nothing.
Oh, he decided to give the money back.
He
That's
did.
what it was.
He did. The concrete loosened up on his heart, started beating stronger.
And he repaid all the people that he had cheated.
That's right. He repaid. He gave half to the poor. He gave 4 times to the ones that he had stole from. So Zacchaeus, he became a great man. You know, he fell in love with Jesus. And the more you love Jesus, the stronger your heart grows for Jesus. Wow. So Zacchaeus turned into a non-sinner. No, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Zacchaeus still sinned, but he turned into a good person. He gave the money back and all that. And why I say Zacchaeus was still a sinner, because we're all still sinners. We still live in the flesh. The only person was Jesus that wasn't a sinner. So, but that was it. That was the story of Zacchaeus.
Zaccheato.
He likes saying that word. Pretty sure he's going to have Cheetos for supper.
Guess what?
What?
Don't forget, 9 o'clock and 10:30.
But you know what happens at the 10:30 service?
Children's church.
Children's church, baby. I want to see everybody there. Invite some friends. Come on.
Actually, we did have 2 students last week.
We did?
Yeah, remember you come running down. I'm going to children's church.
That's right, I did. I went to children's church. I learned a lot. And I think, I'm not 100% certain, Sister Bernice may be coming back.
She may even have masks for everybody.
She may. So if you want to know who Sister Bernice is,
Crochet them.
come on back to children's church with Brother Ray and Sister Nicole. I think she said something about a project.
Oh.
Last week, we blew something up. This week's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go down there.
That's right. So we'll see you Sunday morning. Bye.